Hi, welcome to Vivid Racing. Today we're going to be putting a VR tune on a 2014-2015 Mini Cooper S. It's a pretty easy install. Just going to go through everything, make sure we can show you how to do the clips properly, where to route the wires, and how to set the box up. All right, first step we're going to be doing is just removing the cover. Pretty simple. Just lift up. There's these rubber tabs. Hold it down to these, so it just takes a quick little tug and it removes pretty easily. So after removing the engine cover, we're going to go into the intake runners to the air box. We're going to be removing those, and also we're going to be removing the air box all the way up to this too. It gives a lot of easy access to the lower wire connections of the intake manifold. Usually the first step is I'll just remove this. It's just a rubber grommet, very easy. Next I'm going to come up here to the mass airflow sensor. There's a gray clip on the bottom. Usually you just take a screwdriver, pressing it together, and then you can slide out by pressing that. And then you're just going to leave that to the side so it doesn't get damaged. We're going to come up to this hose clamp right here. We're going to loosen this. Typically it's a 7mm. A flathead screwdriver works just as well. Get that nice and loose. Coming back down to the intake runners to the air box, you're going to have 3 10mm nuts. Just going to remove them one at a time. Try not to lose them. Once you have all the hardware removed, you're just going to grab this area by the front of the radiator, and you're going to grab the back of the air box. You're just going to lift gently, removing the rubber detent in the back, and then removing it from the air intake tube. Now that we've removed the air box, we're just going to go over where the sensor locations are. Over here we have the camshaft sensor, manifold pressure sensor. Down here on this intake tube, you can see this is the boost pressure sensor. And on the back side, right here, is going to be the throttle body sensor. So on the actual wire looms themselves, the sensors' names are written out. You want to lay out the loom nice and relaxed so there's no kinking or being caught anywhere. Just nice and loose, and then we'll zip tie them nice and neatly out of the way once everything's plugged in. Alright, for the throttle body, you're going to want to get in there with a set of long needle nose pliers. You're going to squeeze the very end of it together, reach your hand on the radiator side, and then you're going to slide out. It is a little difficult, so take your time, but patience will come off. You can see by squeezing this and then pulling here, it'll slide right out. Now that the throttle body sensor plug has been removed, you want to take the VR tune plug and slide it in with this little tab being on top. You're going to slide it together until you hear a nice little click. There you go. Now you want to give it a hard tug to make sure it's actually engaged pretty well. So we have the female VR tune plug already plugged in to the stock Mini Cooper wiring harness. Now we're going to take the male VR tune plug and going in to the throttle body plug housing. This tab is going to be on the right side of the engine bay, or left if you're looking at the engine. I'm going to go on the back side. Right, so I've got it started, and then you're going to want to slide until you hear another click. It just did. This one has a safety latch, so you want to make sure you push on that safety latch to make sure it locks in. Try to grab it and try to push it off. If you know it's engaged really well, you can go on to the next sensor. Alright, now we're going to go to the boost pressure sensor. I typically just take a screwdriver, lift up on that tab right there, grab the wire, and it slides right off. Really simple. First we're going to grab Again, the female VR tune plug. The best way to see which way it goes in is there's a flat side at the bottom of the female plug. If you look at the male plug, there's a flat bottom right here. So you put obviously the flat bottom to the flat bottom. You're going to push in. When you heard a click right there, give it a nice tug. Make sure it's not going to fall out or just fall down into the engine bay. So now we have the male VR tune plug. I'm going to go into the boost pressure sensor at the part of the intake. You want to slide until you hear a click. There is a locking pin. You want to make sure once you hear that click, you slide that down. Just give it a quick tug. Make sure it's engaged properly. So now we're at the manifold pressure sensor. This one's going to have a safety tab. Take it. You want to push down. And then using the same screwdriver, just kind of push and depress it, and it's going to slide out. Not too bad. Then we're going to take the VR tune plugs, the female side. You want to double check. Again, this one has a flat at the bottom of it, as well as the male plug has a flat. Push until you hear the click. That was a really good one. Slide down the locking tab. Check it. Now you have the VR tune male plug going into the manifold pressure sensor. Sliding it until it engages, giving it a check. Make sure you check that safety. Alright, now that we've got the throttle body sensor, boost pressure sensor, manifold pressure sensor, last is the camshaft sensor. So what we're going to do is remove the factory cam sensor. You just slide that back and pushing it. Then we're going to take the female VR tune plug. You're going to line up the gray lock to this, what would be a bracket mount. You're going to slide it in and push it. The weather packing is pretty tight, so you're going to have to force it a little bit. And you're going to hear a nice click like that, and then engage the lock tab. Now you're going to take the male VR tune plug, you're going to put it right in to the sensor, making sure that this gray lock tab is towards the outside of the car. Push it down, make sure you hear that click, and then push the tab down. Now we're going to go install the VR tune box itself. Alright, now that we got all the sensors plugged into the engine, we're going to grab the VR tune box. This is a one-way plug. You want to make sure that you have the closer side of the plug to the top, and then the ones that are spread apart towards the bottom. You're going to grab it, slide it in, and then just start pushing the purple clip, and it's going to lock in. So now that this is plugged in, we're just going to mount it somewhere safe, cool, and mostly dry. Even though it is a weather pack system, we just want to keep it in a nice, cool, dry area. So now we're going to route all the wires and zip tie them out of the way.
Love is